everyone, welcome back. So in today's video, I'll be giving you guys a tour of all of the birds that I'm working with here. I have this little microphone going on because I can't really hear what I'm saying because the birds are so loud, but I'm hoping this microphone catches everything I say, and I'm hoping for the best because I am not redoing this video. Now, the majority of the birds that I'm working with are parrots, but I also work with some soft-bills like my taracos and my toucan, and I also have game birds like chickens, pheasants, quail, yada yada yada. So I'm super excited to show you guys, especially because the weather is really nice. I think it's like 87 degrees, which to us Bay Area people, that's pretty hot, but the birds are definitely enjoying it. So yeah, let's start this tour. So I'm gonna start off by showing y'all one of the first pairs I acquired when I first started this hobby. These right here are called Rosy FRS Conures. I actually had no clue how uncommon this species was until people started reaching out to me asking if I had any available, because finding this species can be a bit of a challenge since they're not the most prolific species. I mean, it took these guys 3 years before they even bred for me, but the funny thing is I was literally Googling about them as I was driving to pick them up because I had no clue what species they were. I just thought they were pretty birds and the price seemed fair, so I said, why not? Now, that's something I don't recommend doing. It's always important to really educate yourself first before bringing any animal home, but because I was already working with a few other parrots, I just went straight for them. But I just feel so lucked out for getting a good pair that breeds because many pairs don't breed at all, but I really think that's to do with breeders not giving them what they need in order to breed, whether it be a different nest box or even something like more privacy by moving them to a new location. Also, some breeders could just be really impatient with them and not even give them enough time to settle in. Moving on, I have my crimson-bellied conures. They look very similar in appearance to green-cheek conures, but the most obvious difference being that bright red chest they have as they mature. This pair in particular were very prolific at first, and they gave me around 15 babies if I remember correctly. This year, they didn't breed for me at all, but I feel like it had to do with moving them from one location to another right during breeding season that disturbed them. So once they settle in, I'm sure they'll start breeding again, but that probably won't be until next year though. These right here are my one and only pair of Dusky Conures. I bought them when they were maybe 8 weeks old. This pair is already 2 years old and they're at breeding age, but unfortunately they didn't show any interest in breeding this year for the same reason the crimson bellies didn't breed. But that's okay, maybe next year I have a better shot with these two because it'll be pretty cool to have some baby Duskies available. I do also want to hold some back to make a few more pairs because I like to have at least 3 pairs per species. Coming over here are my half-moon conures. I was originally working with 3 pairs, but unfortunately a male died for some unknown reason, so I have the hen separately until I either find her another mate or I sell her to another breeder and just keep my other 2 pairs. I don't know, we'll see though. I think from all 6 species of conures I work with, the half-moons tend to be the most aggressive of them all. It's like they're always choosing violence, especially during breeding season. There are times where I struggle to even replace their feed bowls because they're just ready to rip my fingers off. Okay, these are what I've been patiently waiting to see breed. These are my Derbyan Parakeets, very similar in appearance to the mustache parakeet, but maybe 2 to 3 times bigger. Too bad I'm not working with any mustache parakeets, but they're definitely on the list of birds I want to work with, and I'm only throwing that out there because I'm speaking it into existence. For now, I have all 4 together, but before the year ends, I'll be making new cages and then splitting them up into pairs and cross fingers they breed for me next season. Right beside them, I have this older pair I set up like 2 years ago, but they haven't given me any chicks yet. But my plan with Derbyans is to hold back babies and make a few more pairs. That way I'm working with a total of 5 pairs in the future. Moving over here are my pair of Persa Turacos. They're now roughly 2 years old. One thing I did was really underestimate how active they are. So because of that, I plan to build them a much larger flight since they'll really benefit from it. And it'll also lessen the aggressiveness from the male towards the female, since there are times where he'll chase her away. I don't really plan to hand feed their babies if they do breed. I'd really want the parents to raise the chicks themselves, but worst comes to worst, I'll be ready if they do need any assistance, especially since most first timers have a hard time either incubating or rearing their first clutch from lack of experience. Down below from them, I have a trio of Ralrals. They're also known as crested partridges. These are not too commonly seen in your everyday aviaries, but they're definitely a must-have bird for anybody that has a walk-in aviary or even a greenhouse. So if you ever see any available, I suggest jumping on them because you truly won't be disappointed. I'm actually pretty obsessed with them myself. I originally got a hold of 2 pairs, but one day the door opened on me while I was doing some maintenance, and I unfortunately had a male get out and I never saw him again. So I've had this male with 2 females ever since. At first, they weren't accepting the lonely female, but they eventually did accept her, and now all 3 spend most of their time together. Right beside them, I have my keeled-billed toucan. This guy is actually the reason my TikTok account hit over 150,000 followers, so I owe a lot of thank yous to him. As of right now, I have him in a holding pen until we start building his large flight. My original intentions with him was to have him as a pet, but maybe in the future I'll set him up for breeding. But that's something I'd really have to consider as I don't have that much space. I don't know, we'll see. These are my Swainsons lorikeets. They're also commonly known as rainbow lorikeets. These 4 came out of my original breeding birds, which I'll show y'all in a bit, but I held these back for future breeding. Since the majority of lorikeet species, including the Swainsons, are nectar eaters in the wild, I have to feed these guys a specialized lorikeet nectar diet that I mix with water and serve along with fruits I feed my softbills. And that nectar doesn't come cheap, so it costs a couple hundred every month to feed 12 birds, plus any babies I'm raising. But I really enjoy having them, and I'd say they're the most playful and colorful pair I raise. I know I said I'm excited to see my Derbyans breed, but what I cannot wait for are my Lineated Parakeets to breed. They're also known as red-capped parakeets, but you'll mostly hear me call them pileateds. These are an Australian species, and they're not too commonly kept in aviculture. I know this might sound weird, but they have a really nice smell, almost like a citrus fruity smell to them. These are my famous Linnies. They're called Lineated Parakeets, but I call them Linnies for short just because lineated is a bit of a tongue twister for me. This species is also not too commonly seen available, but in recent years, they have become a lot more popular, therefore getting the attention from a few breeders like myself to work with them. The Linnies are by far the most prolific species I raise. I produced over 100 babies in just 2 seasons. These cool looking parrots are called plum-headed parakeets. I have been working with plumheads for a good 4 years now, and thankfully I have great success raising them. This year I produced a total of 14, which isn't that high of a number considering the amount of pairs I'm working with, but it's still a good amount either way. I'm working my way up to 15 pairs, which I feel are more than enough unless I cut down on other species to make room for more plumhead pairs. But as for now, I'm happy with my plumhead population I have going on. I almost forgot to mention, I'm also working with a few cockatiels and green cheeks. Although they're not really for conservation, they serve more for the pet trade as they make great pets, and whatever profit I gain from them is directly used in bird maintenance or helping me fund for new birds. Although lots of my expenses come out of pocket, the green cheeks and cockatiels definitely help cut down on at least $1,000 feed bills. The cockatiels I feel are always in demand as they make wonderful first-time pet birds. They tend to be very mellow and family-friendly compared to a green cheek, where they can be a bit more hormonal and nippy, which can discourage a lot of new-time pet owners. Now, I could go on and on, but my attention span isn't that long. There's a lot more birds that I didn't show off, so I'll leave that for another video. But if you're interested in learning about birds, or even looking for a new pet bird, feel free to reach out to me on Facebook or Instagram at @VadixxAviary. Please also feel free to leave a comment with any content ideas, and also give my video a thumbs up and subscribe to my YouTube channel for more animal content. Bye guys!